Oh, what a day! What a lovely day!
Welcome to Flat Earth Debate Live. I'm your host Nathan Oakley, and if you are new to this channel, or you've not done so already, then be sure to subscribe and hit the bell notification icon to keep up to date with the Flat Earth Debate. If you'd like to join the community debate, then go to nathanoakley.com and check out the Flat Earth Debate forum, which you should definitely all join. If you'd like to support the channel, there is a super chat that runs alongside each of these shows while they are live. There's also a PayPal, Patreon and crypto link in the info box below the video. Most importantly, if you'd like to join the discussion, simply mute the page you are currently watching, then click the link in the info box below this video to join the panel and express your views on the nature of Earth. If you do join, please don't swear. If you do, you'll be ejected, and if you are, please don't try to rejoin the stream using sock accounts. You'll be warmly welcome back on the next stream. Please also share the show on social media. Sharing the show obviously increases the live audience, but this in turn increases the chances of a more diverse panel, so please share the show. And one last time, if you are new to the channel or you've not done so already, then be sure to subscribe and hit the bell notification icon to keep up to date with the Flat Earth Debate. Now, in the Google Plus Hangouts on air, we are joined by Righteous Force, Ranty Flat Earth, Arwin and 10th Man. Very good to have you all.
Good to be here.
Good day.
I'm not getting a notification, by the way. I have to manually find the show.
Such is life on YouTube when you're a Flat Earther, Arwin. It's part of the perils. That's why part of the intro says, please share the show. It's very important that you do so. Smash that share button if you're watching live. We're also joined by, on Discord, Dallas Dave, Dougie, Earth-Shaped Investigator, Redman, and Righteous Force again. Good to have you all.
Morning.
Good afternoon, good evening, and hello.
G'day, g'day, g'day.
Hey, we were talking about you in the pre-show, Ranty, about your modelling and your indulgence into what might be in terms of the sky.
Oh, very good. I'm not prepared to discuss it right now, though.
No, that's perfectly reasonable. I didn't divulge any details particularly. I just said that you were looking into stuff, as you are.
Well, I was looking into yesterday's crap show that you guys put forth.
Ah, yeah, Paul's not here at the minute.
Damn it.
I did mention that as well, the fact that there might be a challenge to the data that he presented.
Indeed, there is.
Just go through it. It doesn't need to be here.
Okay, I can present now if you want to, or do you want to go through housekeeping first?
I don't mind. Let's just dispense with housekeeping. We're already talking about it, right?
Okay, right. I'll share screens then. Let me know when you can see. Hang on, let's see. Which one am I sharing?
118,000 feet.
So you're seeing this now? Here,
yep.
Right. Okay, so this was on yesterday's show, yeah? This was what was presented on your show yesterday. So we have a claim in these two boxes. This box here is the height of the balloon. And in this box here, which I've also coloured with red dots around it, is the external temperature, apparently. Now then, I have a claim that this isn't right. And I can maybe demonstrate that by, in this next image, going through some of the details as to why I don't think that is correct. So either there was a malfunction with the gauge that was measuring the temperature, or some of this data has been put in the wrong box, or something like that. Something isn't correct. However, I do have to say at the lower temperatures, these do seem to correlate. It goes down to about -70 in relation with the height. So I think it's a malfunction perhaps with the equipment that was used to record these temperatures, which, as we can see here, we've got almost 11 and a half, 12, 13, nearly 14 degrees plus. So this is a plus value. It isn't a negative, it's a plus. Lower down, you get a minus value. Now, I can demonstrate that it's likely to be wrong by doing a simple search of what the stratosphere temperatures are at those altitudes. Now, at 118,000 feet, we're looking at 35 kilometers above the ground. Now, obviously, these have sphere in them, so forget that, but we have to call them by what they're called: stratosphere, troposphere, and the tropopause. Now, the tropopause is the dividing line between the troposphere and the stratosphere. Now, at 0 kilometers on the ground, we have the warmest temperatures. Then it starts to get a little bit warmer, a little bit cooler, till it gets down to around about -50, sometimes -60 degrees at the top of the troposphere. Now, when it transitions into the stratosphere, it is still at those really cold temperatures. We're talking -50, -60 degrees. Then what happens, all the way up to 50 kilometers high, the temperatures gradually increase in warmth to a point of around about -15 degrees C. From 51 degrees C to -15 degrees C. I could bring a whole bunch of citations up for this specific region and the temperatures in those regions. Now, the problem is that this gauge, this temperature gauge, said that we're getting temperatures of 14 degrees, 13.5, 12 and 12.8 at 35,000 feet. Nowhere, anywhere online that I've been able to find, when we're talking about the stratosphere, does it describe temperatures of that value? I.e., you can't get temperatures that high. If we were to put the balloon at 35 kilometers, which would be roughly about here on my little chart that I've just drawn, the temperature would still be about -30 or -30 degrees C. So there is absolutely no way that these can be correct. Absolutely no way. And if we look at the actual balloon footage itself, you can actually see that there is details here that show -36 degrees at a where are we? Where's the height? So the altitude is 119,000 feet, -36 degrees C. Now, this is more consistent with what we expect to find in the stratosphere. However, those temperatures that are recorded on that chart seem to be completely wrong. So when it was put yesterday, and it was put to you guys that maybe there was something wrong with the equipment, maybe the equipment was wrong, we don't know if we can validate this data. One thing I can say is that I can't find a single reference that would show temperatures getting to this height anywhere in the stratosphere, especially at 35 kilometers. Can't find it. It would all be a negative value, and a very low negative value to about -30. And there we go.
Fascinating. Hey, Spurs. Hey, Spurs.
Fascinating. Is all you got to say. Fascinating. It's really cool.
Well, I got some
going to say
questions.
diabolical.
I don't see why have you doubt to even have? Yeah, why do you doubt the equipment? Has there been any reason for them to assume that the equipment went faulty? Because then the whole reading comes into play in doubt.
When we see the video, we see readings that's consistent with all known scientific temperature readings that have been taken at those altitudes over history. So balloon video shows that that's consistent with like -30, -40, -50. Never does it show a plus value in the video. Yet when you get the data through, it shows a value of 14 degrees. Now that's impossible. I can't find a single citation anywhere that says the stratosphere can have a temperature that high. If you can go ahead,
do you have an alternative source then?
Well,
data
isn't it
from an
more
alternative
likely?
source to prove the contrary?
Isn't it more likely that with the video footage and every other video footage that shows this kind of thing with temperatures and altitude, and all the documented evidences of the temperature, that this one set of data that shows a 14 degrees at those altitudes, that is the anomaly. That is the anomaly. Wouldn't it be more reasonable to expect that's the fault? The fault is with the equipment on this particular case, rather than all the other times that this has been done, them being incorrect.
So do you have any examples of all the other times that refute this? Because you're claiming that.
You can Google search what the stratosphere temperatures are, Arwin.
No, that's not what I'm talking about. Not
Google.
I'm talking about an actual balloon reading, just like this.
Just a minute. You know planes fly around in the stratosphere, right?
Sure. If
Yeah.
you say so.
Well, 35,000 feet, 40,000 feet. They're flying in the stratosphere. You know, we know the temperatures up there. They're cold. They're not 14 degrees C. It's well documented. If you can find a single documentation anywhere that shows temperatures in the plus value in the stratosphere, go ahead, present it.
Paul's got one.
I would love it.
Paul's got one.
Go ahead.
Paul's got one. That's the one you're challenging. I'm just being facetious.
Oh, right. Okay. Yeah. Well, what I'm saying is that this is the anomaly. And you can't get those temperatures in that region. You just can't get it. It's never been documented anywhere that you get these temperatures. It has to be a fault with the equipment that recorded this set of data, because even the video footage of the balloon going up has a different thermometer on the outside that shows the negative degrees as it's going up. As I've just showed you on the video, it said minus 30 degrees. I mean, there's no way it was 13.9 degrees.
Ranty, can I ask you a question?
Of course you can.
Does the temperature in England always stay cold, or does it get hot sometimes?
Yeah, of course it gets warm. What's that got to do with anything? That's the most retarded question. If you're going to try and say that the stratosphere is going to warm up above 0 degrees, then you need your head.
Well, it was a pleasure talking to you today. My goodness.
Well,
what
you know,
vitriol.
Well, why are you trying to defend? Why are you
I
trying
barely
to
got
defend?
a question out of my mouth.
Well, it seems to me like you're getting into this to try and defend. To defend these.
Why don't you just attack?
No. Rather than just saying.
Rather than
really
loving yourself, rather than loving yourself so much, why don't you just attack somebody before they finish the concept of the question?
Because you were trying to link warmer temperatures here and colder temperatures to be in the same with the stratosphere.
I'm done talking to you, Ranty.
Well, go away then. You can't handle the truth.
You go away.
You can't handle the truth.
It's not the truth, Ranty.
You guys were wrong
yesterday. It's not the truth, it's your claim.
You guys were wrong yesterday. Go and find a citation anywhere that the stratosphere has temperatures that high. Go ahead.
Air balloons.
Go ahead. I'm not interested in what the argument was.
I'd like to see another alternative readout from another balloon.
I'm not interested
and
in what
you can find one that does not correlate with these readings, then I'll give your claim some attention.
I'm not interested.
Issues, Ranty.
I'm not interested with what you guys were arguing about yesterday, but I will come in and say something if I feel that you guys have gone ahead and automatically turned around to somebody and dismissed their argument without even the basic research that anybody could go ahead and research and find out that there's no way those temperatures could have been reached in that region ever.
Like you dismissed my question the way you did a minute ago, not just like that.
Because why was it? It was a leading question for. I know exactly where you were going. I've dealt with you 1,000 times, and people just like you. It had nothing to do with this. We're talking about the stratosphere.
And I've dealt with people like you 1,000 times who won't be.
Then why didn't you go and do your research yesterday?
There you go.
Why didn't you do your research yesterday?
Globe tactic.
Why didn't you do your research yesterday?
Oh, come on,
I'm not against your findings, Ranty.
Thank you. That's good. That's good. You're not against my findings. That's good. That's
Ranty, chill out. Just let him respond in full sentence.
He won't. He's triggered.
I'm triggered because you dismiss any new evidence that comes out.
You don't even know what I was going to say.
What you believe. Anything that is against what your preconceived ideas are, you automatically dismiss them. Now, you had a flat earther come in yesterday and try to argue that there may have been an issue with the equipment. You dismissed him out of hand and wouldn't even look into that. All of you did.
I did not.
I listened to the debate.
Talking about Ranty.
I listened. You were just as bad, Arwin. You said exactly the same.
Yeah, Arwin.
You dismissed it out of.
What are you talking about? I did no such thing. I just presupposed things.
No, you
everything I said was based on presuppositions.
None of you were willing. None of you were willing to even think for a minute that the data might be wrong, right?
I did that specifically. I was literally presupposing that the data was correct. Presupposing, not.
Yes, presupposing.
Right, that's presupposition.
And he said,
"Look, there might be a problem."
And
I don't like you when you're like this.
And he said there might be a problem.
Very annoying.
And he said, just saying that I'm very annoying isn't addressing the question, are we? We can agree to disagree here. At the end of the day,
it's not about disagreement.
Why
It's
isn't it?
about not
All right, it's
doing
about
what you're
attitude.
accusing me of.
It's about attitude. This
I
is supposed to be.
presupposed it. I didn't accept it as real
here.
outright. I was
We're
going
here
with
as
a train of thought,
investigators.
and you're accusing me of accepting it
We
outright.
are here as investigators. We're supposed to be here investigating where we live and taking all the knowledge that we can get and formulating ideas from that. Now, when something goes against what you believe, you automatically dismiss that. And I think it's wrong.
No,
That's what you're doing.
That's a lie.
No, I'm not.
You're
I'm
lying.
I am proving
You're a liar.
right
Okay,
here.
both of you calm down, please. Hold on. Both of you just take a breath. Count to 3. Please.
I'm sick of it.
Shout out to
Ranty
Earthy
is
Seriously
lying.
Flat for the super chat. Says Nathan Oakley. Best globe zombie slayer. Well, thank you very much.
The idea that this data might be incorrect. You didn't want to go down that route. I've simply come on today.
I didn't even
and
catch
showed
it,
you-
Ranty. I
showed-
didn't even catch it because I was caught up.
Did you take that breath?
Conversation, right?
I
With
have come in
Adam, that was
today-
very interesting.
Nobody cares about you, Arwin. It's
Oh,
not
come
about
on.
you.
Right, both of you stop it. No need.
Let me say something.
I care
Go
about
ahead.
you, Arwin.
Thank
Okay,
you.
so if Ranty
Some people
presented
care
a
about.
counter argument,
Yes, I did.
if Ranty presented a
keep
counter
losing your
argument,
favorite
shouldn't
part
we
in my
present
list.
a counter argument?
Nobody cares,
Yeah, let's
Ranty.
get Righteous
Nobody
Forces
cares,
trying.
Arwin.
Everybody
Yeah,
be
you're
quiet
out of
for a
my
second.
favorite list.
Arwin,
Now.
Ranty,
Oh,
everybody,
wow.
please.
Go and split our
Arwin,
lists then.
Ranty,
Uh-huh.
Arwin,
Goodbye.
All my life
Ranty,
has
hello,
ended 'cause Arwin
hello,
takes me off his list.
hello.
Goodbye.
Let's get it back on this.
Shut
let's-
up for a
Yeah.
minute.
Just
Cat.
stop talking for a second, please.
Yeah, yeah.
Let's get this
Yeah.
train wreck back on the track. So the objection as it stood in terms of the debate was Ranty has presented his defiance of the data that was presented by Paul. And Arwin has asked, have you got the data that is essentially the same measuring of the same scenario, but not conforming to what Paul presented? That's where the conversation degenerated into what we just had for the last 5 minutes. Amusing though it was. Thanks
No,
again
it
to
wasn't.
Earth is
Wasn't
Seriously
like-
Flat for the super chat. Ask to Globe Zombies how to test Polaris distance. Indeedy do.
Sure, look at the balloon footage, Arwin. Look at the balloon footage. Here we go. We've got temperature reading on the outside of minus 36 degrees at 119,000 feet altitude. How does that correlate with 119,000 feet and being plus 13.9?
What is your data reference to compare this
The
to?
same footage. This is the same.
Okay. So it's
stuff.
just your claim. Just your claim.
I'm seeing it on screen. I am watching it on the screen. Arwin, look at this. Can you see this temperature outside? Temp dot
Yeah,
outside.
I know this source. I've seen it.
Minus
That's the source. So you
Does it say-
haven't presented any
Hang on,
other
just
source to
wait a minute.
compare it with for
Does
your
it-
claim,
wait,
Ranty.
Does it say 13.9?
Yeah. So now please
Does it
present
say-
another source.
Are you
Does
talking
it
past each
say-
other?
Proof
Arwin,
for
Arwin. Try to listen to what he's asking you. He's using the same reference to debunk that reference, which is absolutely fine. But if you're talking past each other in terms of what he's trying to show you, and you're saying I want a different reference, well, no, he's using the same one to debunk it, or so he says. But you can't talk past each other if you're not going to get to this point unless you actually listen to what Ranty's saying.
Fine.
So we have a temperature reading from the balloon that says minus 36 degrees outside, which is highly consistent with how the stratospheric temperatures are told are in that region, right? And then we have data that shows 13.9, right? So which one's correct? All the stratosphere knowledge that tells you that temperatures don't go above 0, or this one set of data on this slide that shows a temperature region of 13.9.
I wouldn't know. I haven't had any alternative sources presented.
So
Okay, that's the same argument. Shout out to Stopping Traffic in my Rasta hat. It says 10th man just sod off. Well, I actually like 10th man, so thank you for the super chat anyway. Earth is Seriously Flat. Again, thank you very much for the super chat. So sorry, dear Globe Zombies. There's no curvasion. Thank you for the super chat.
So
Curvasion.
in this one case yesterday where this was presented as evidence, I'm saying that the data is flawed and not worth a dime. That's what I'm saying.
More importantly, not so much Arwin. I think
Hooray! Hooray! Still no alternative sources.
all
for
right,
data
Arwin, you
presented.
don't get it again as usual. But Nathan, you seeing this? Because yesterday I did say about how can we trust the data? What's the difference? But now Ranty has shown that manipulation has happened. You have the
Oh, really?
data
How?
from the balloon. Arwen, please let Nathan respond if you don't mind, Arwen.
I'm sick of hearing the same story over and over again and not
Arwen, you don't understand
actually
what's
getting an
happening.
alternative source presented for the claim.
All right, Arwen. we
Yeah,
will.
Norwood, be quiet for a minute.
Yeah, because you're not understanding what's happening. But for those that do understand, we have
Shut
two
the
readings.
fuck up.
Come on, you're too triggered. Don't make me kick you out. Come on, calm down.
The fuck up.
So basically, we have two readings. One that is printed that gives a different reading to the reading that we see on the video. Now, as Ranty said, which reading should we go with? The one that was printed that gives us a plus, or the one that we see in the real world, real time, giving us a reading of minus? That's what we're asking. And, obviously Paul needs to answer this question, but it's not something for Nathan to answer. But you get, Nathan, what the problem is here is that we have two conflicting readings.
There.
I couldn't care less, to be honest. It doesn't prove anything. None of this is important to me. I asked Branty this earlier this morning. I was like, what is this proving or disproving?
Well, it's just proving that there was a gang mentality yesterday, not willing to entertain the idea that the data might be flawed. And all I heard was a lot of people jumping down this guy's neck. I can't even remember who he was called, who came in and was just arguing that maybe the data might be wrong, and nobody wanted to entertain that. And when I looked into it myself, I actually realized he was correct. I've got a citation up right now. If you just type in stratospheric or stratosphere temperature, it tells you at a maximum of about 15 degrees C at the top of the stratosphere. It doesn't go higher than that. It can't get to 13.9 degrees C. It can't do that.
That's amazing that Google
isn't it?
told you this. There's still no data reference, though.
Because the stratosphere.
Still no data reference. This is a readout from Google.
And also,
where's your source? Where's your source for this?
Listen, I know that you like to try and do stuff because you don't have anything to talk about.
Yeah, but you're not actually
why are we ad homing each other? Right, stop. Both of you, stop. Stop. Arwen, hello.
Actual alternative evidence.
This is research. I could literally list a whole bunch of citations that prove this exact thing about how cold the temperatures are. Now, just bearing in mind that the planes navigate in this region, right? So airplane pilots fly through this region. They know it's cold up there. They don't ever go up there and start sunbathing, Arwen. I know.
I'm still waiting for new data.
New data.
All the data
in the world that tells you the temperature of the stratosphere.
I'm gonna mute them all and read out.
The greatest thing about this argument is that there is a lot of data, and now it's just a matter of going through it and proving the point.
What point? None of this matters. Both data show temperature doesn't always correlate to pressure, so what is the point? Thank you very much, Life is Short. I entirely agree. None of this is important. Who cares?
It was interesting. It was important to me because, as you know, I've not really been much on the show recently, but I would like to have a civil debate. And when somebody comes in and says that the data might be flawed and you guys automatically say, no, and shut him out and kick him out, it's wrong. The guy was correct.
Okay,
the data was flawed.
Okay, fair enough. If that was the case, fair enough.
Okay, thank you. Right, that's all I've got to say on the matter.
Well, fair enough. Thank you, Auntie. Kumbaya, my lord.
I'm still waiting for the alternative source to be presented.
Oh no, Kumbaya hasn't been achieved.
We're giving you the alternative source.
No, that's a Google search readout without a source.
Of the reasons, it's just like this. The size of the balloon as it goes up is the indicator of the temperature. Okay. We have proven fact that the balloon changes in size due only to temperature. So as this balloon increases in height, then the balloon it starts to contract. If there is a point where that balloon starts to expand, the reason is because there is no more air because the temperature has already pushed all the air back down to Earth. So that balloon starts to expand because there is no pressure. Randy's explained this to you.
That's horseshit. What do you mean there is no pressure? Yeah, go and prove that. Don't just assert it like a fundy. I'm sick of it. Anyway, shout out to Earth is Seriously Fat for the super chat, and also to Del West Watson, who says Ranty is ace. I wholeheartedly agree. Go and subscribe to Ranty Flat Earth, and indeed Arwin, even though he's triggered.
Dallas David,
So,
how did you isolate your controlled variables?
You got to remember one thing. You have video. The greatest thing about this argument is all the data is already on the table. It's just a matter of how it's deciphered. And it's just like Paul and these guys. They're just giving you the wrong conclusions. What they're doing. They're telling.
How are they giving you the wrong information?
Because you've got to look at the whole thing is when you fill the balloon up on Earth, right? You've got pressure inside the balloon. It is a certain diameter around circumference.
Stop there. Why don't you do a balloon test yourself?
That's what I'm saying. What you got to understand is that there is so many balloons.
Stop.
Already,
Do a balloon test yourself.
What we're saying here.
Do another
and you
one.
guys don't want to accept that all the information is already on the table. And
it's on the table.
Randy's pointing out that the information they're putting on the table is to throw a wrench in this deal. This heating up of the atmosphere as you go up.
Look. He's done lots of balloon tests. Okay, and this one's probably been his best one because he's absolutely made it perfect with the camera and everything else. He's got the data. It's all there, and it's probably the first one ever to sort of get as far as it has done and actually got data. What you need to do is do another one.
I agree with you. I agree with you 100%.
And then you will see if it's accurate, roughly the same, and then you can start arguing because there's no point arguing over nothing because at the moment we've got one set of data. That is it. It is what it is, but you have to do another test to back it up.
All right, then.
Well, hold on, that's Arwin's point. So Arwin's asked Ranty and got annoyed because he hasn't got an answer. Where's the other data? Where's the comparable data? Where's the other tests? Where's the other person taking the same measurements, doing the same thing? That's Arwin's argument.
Hello.
What?
Hey,
Sorry,
Chocolate.
I wasn't paying attention.
Yeah,
no shit.
It's okay. I was complimenting you on the fact that your argument is that you haven't seen any comparable data sets. And that's what the chap on Discord basically just said. Look, until we get other data sets, but he's saying it in future tense, i.e. go out and get a new one yourself is what he's saying. You were asking for what's already in existence we can compare it to. It's essentially the same argument, though.
Yeah. Well, not really, because essentially I can bring up 1,000 citations of the stratospheric temperatures.
Just like Brenda, can you?
And you can bring up
Brenda. You just don't do it, do you?
And there's a little chart there that just says that there's a temperature of 13.9, and I can just say that's wrong. It's Arwin to prove different. You go ahead and prove temperatures in the plus there, Arwin. Apart from that little set of data that you've just had presented to you,
you
go
have
ahead
to
and
prove it. You're the one saying it's wrong. So if you think it's wrong, you go out and do a balloon test yourself. Simple as that. So don't say it's wrong. If no one's done it before, this is the first time. Well, really, that he's sort of done it. We've got the data. You go out yourself and do a balloon test.
Yeah, Arwin should go.
Well, there is another one.
And prove the temperatures up there.
I've got another balloon test taken on 10 November 2018, and it goes up to also 120,000 feet, and it also has a temperature in Fahrenheit. So I guess you could compare it to that video if you want.
Link
yes,
it in
please.
Discord.
Yes, please. Excellent. You're
yes,
a star.
Finally,
Apollo.
some data.
Yes, please.
Link it in Discord and I'll share it maybe, or somebody else.
Can you put it in the chat, please?
Excellent. Arwin, can you get hold of this?
If you post it in Skype.
How's everybody doing?
Sure, Skype.
We're doing well, Chocolate.
Sure, I can post it in the Discord.
Can you do me a favour, Chocolate?
I'm not in Discord.
Yeah, it's okay. I'm going to sort that. Chocolate, any chance you can post the citation that's going into Discord right now to Master B?
I could probably do it too.
Or Paul, or
the
anybody.
one that's going into Discord right now?
Yeah, somebody's
Give me
pasting.
one.
Apollo is,
All right,
is pasting a comparable balloon launch.
And
Okay, gotcha.
could we have a bit of data about what type of thermometers you use and how you get in these temperatures as well, please? That would be great.
Oh, right. So you want to be
Let's just
critical
see
of
the
that
data
source.
first.
Okay. No, that's fine, Ranty. That's perfectly legit.
Yeah, so I searched for other high altitude balloons videos yesterday, and I watched a few of them that come to a comparable height. I haven't watched this entire video, but it goes up to about 112,000 feet, so that's pretty comparable.
Did you drop it in Discord yet, Apollo?
Yeah,
it's
right
there now.
there. I think it's done by the same guy as well, I think. By Dwayne Callum.
That's what it says.
Yeah, he did a bunch of them. I think he has been doing it for like 10 years. I don't know. His other videos are quite old, so he has been doing this for some time, obviously.
It's over 30,000 meters, you say?
It is now in Skype.
Thank you very much, Chocolate. Yeah,
No
if you can check
problem.
it out. It seems like we've got progress thanks to Apollo.
I've actually got it up on my screen.
Yeah, can you pause it though? Just scrub through it rather than play it. And if you can also make it full screen, but just put it on pause and... Perfect. Thank you very much.
So are we comparing Dwayne Kellum information to Dwayne Kellum information? Is that what we're doing here?
Or go do one yourself. That's what I'm saying. Go do one yourself.
I'm just asking the question, okay? Everybody needs
This
to
is another
understand
balloon,
it.
right?
Yeah, it's just something to compare it with. There's the data on the left-hand side. Hopefully it's coming through nice and clear for the audience.
But I'm guessing it will also... the temperature can also matter depending on if it has been recorded inside the instrument or out, or if the thermometer has been placed on the outside or inside. Because in his latest one, he built a package for it, but it says right there that it is on the outside. But actually, I see now on this video, it says temperature int. So I guess it means internal. So if there are a lot of electronics inside, this may mess with the recording, but I don't know.
Can I ask you a question? Would you agree that the only gauge on that, the only true gauge on that balloon is the size of the balloon as it travels up? That the difference in the size of the balloon is the only true gauge of what is going on in that atmosphere? Because we know
it's not
that
a gauge in the slightest. Because it's not a gauge in the slightest. I'm trying to answer you.
Wherever that balloon
I'm trying to answer you,
small.
but you just keep bloody talking, don't you? No, because you're going to tell me how big that balloon is on screen now. How big is the balloon on screen right now, David?
Let me look at it. I'm not looking on that side.
You're going to have a little look, are you? With your little measuring eyes, are you? You're going to give me the measurement from a little look on it on a screen that you've got. My screen's 8 foot across. How big's your screen? Are they the same size? Because I guarantee if I run a tape measure over my screen... Oh, of course. I'm demolishing his absolute ludicrous assertion that the size of the balloon on a screen is a measure of something, when that's an absolutely ludicrous notion.
Just tell me when I can speak, please.
I've just demolished your point. No, you can't tell me how big the balloon is on screen, can you?
The point of the size of the balloon on the screen is not...
It's irrelevant because you don't know how it is. You haven't got the slightest idea how big it is. I've just asked you how big is the balloon on screen, and you haven't got the vaguest notion. You've got a different size screen to me. That's the demolition of your point.
It's the actual size of the balloon. As it goes up, it will shrink in size. Does it ever enlarge? No, it probably doesn't.
How the hell would you know? How do you know? You're just extrapolating this from what you deduce happens based on the numbers on screen, whereas you can't actually tell me that it's physically shrunk. You don't know. This isn't a gauge of anything, David.
It is
You
the
may have
only
driven
real.
We did talk about it.
Is the
So
size of the
that does
balloon.
happen.
Yeah, the size of
Remember
it. How big
me
is
and
it?
Adam?
How big is it? Oh, I don't know. I'll have a look on my screen. Oh, that's useful. That's accurate. That's a gauge. That can tell us about our world. Wonderful. Yeah,
I'm
useless,
talking about
mate. Useless.
If you put a camera and you photograph that balloon as it rises, the size of that balloon as it changes tells you the difference in the temperature. Okay, as that balloon becomes smaller,
No, it doesn't.
The temperature.
No, it doesn't. It doesn't just tell you temperature, because it can be affected by pressure. It's affected by multiple different things, not just temperature. It's not going to give you a gauge of temperature on how big the balloon is. That's nonsense.
Yeah, yes, it does. That's what it does. That's what because it's.
Ah, yeah, Fundy. Just say it's what it does. Yeah, no, it doesn't. Number one, you haven't got the slightest clue how big the balloons are, but yet you're already making this extrapolation. Number two, it's not just temperature that affects the size of that balloon.
Then what is it?
Pressure.
What do you mean pressure? Pressure from the pressure's on the inside
and on the outside. It changes as you go up. There's a grade of how much there is, and we see it on these numbers. But that also affects the size of the balloon. It's not just the temperature. So we're definitely not achieving a gauge of temperature by looking at the size of the balloon. That's just horseshit.
Why? How do you have a mental block?
Excuse me? No, I'm very concise in what I say.
No, sir. If you don't understand that the video.
Yeah, no, I just made it clear that I do understand. I'm not having a mental block, and I am very concise in what I say. So don't make your next statement based on the premise that I don't understand, when I'm very concise in what I say, and I do understand.
No, you're concise in the way that you say things, but to understanding to be concise is a different thing. Okay.
Who cares? You can't gauge temperature with the size of that balloon. You're an idiot. How about that?
That is how you would know what the temperature was.
No, it isn't. I've just demolished that very concisely and consistently and thoroughly. And you are a retard. So you don't understand how you gauge temperature. You are a moron and you don't understand. How about I start leveling this at you? Not that I was going to, but now I will, as you're deciding to use that tactic on me.
Can we have a second opinion here? Is Randy or anybody else here?
What, on whether or not we can gauge the size of the balloon and that give us a temperature? Yeah, who's hands up? Who thinks we can measure the balloon to give us the temperature?
No, the balloon will tell you.
Shut up, David. That means not you. Yeah, we know you think that, Roy. You retard. Shut up, retard. We understand you think that. I'm asking the rest of the panel, like you just suggested. So shut your fundy, stupid mouth with your ridiculous assertions that a balloon size can give you the bloody temperature, which it can't. And let's see who agrees with you and your nonsense.
Pretty sure you need a thermometer for that.
Not the size of the balloon, then, Arwin. That's one. Who else?
Nope.
Anybody else think the size of the balloon's going to give you the temperature?
Maybe if it's a very sensitive balloon.
The size? Nah, you're not going to get the size.
Probably have some
You're not going to get the temperature
mathematical
from the size of a balloon. That doesn't make any sense.
Well, there is a relation between the temperature and how they work on the gases with also the pressure on the outside, because it changes as it goes higher. And they sort of like work in equilibrium to a point of about 120,000 feet. And that's when the temperatures basically stop. You know, the temperatures start to warm up and the pressure inside the balloon exponentially gets bigger, basically. And that's why it pops.
How do you know all this? How do you know all this?
Because you can see the readings on the outside for a start of the pressure as it goes up. The pressure's dropping. Pressure's getting less outside. The temperature's starting to warm up. And by knowing how gases work when they get cooler and what happens
Where's
when
the
they get
thermometer? Inside or outside?
What do you mean? On the balloon?
Yeah, where is it?
So if you've got gases
You have no idea.
inside, what do you mean?
You have no idea. Just say you don't know. You don't know. Don't guess.
I mean, if that was the case, the temperature when it was at ground level the balloon size should have been 3 times the size when it was up top. So I mean that just.
Well, no, it works in the.
No, we don't know. That's my answer. You don't know if it's inside or outside. You need to speak to the man who did it himself.
It doesn't matter the size of the balloon, whatever size that balloon takes off at, right? We know that the temperature decreases as you go up. So that balloon starts to shrink immediately as it goes up in size, right? So at a certain point, you guys the claim here is that this balloon will increase over its original size, right? Or it will increase at all over its smallest size at the point where it becomes 70 below zero. Once it hits 70 below zero, you have to prove that this balloon increases in size. And the only reason it does increase in size is not because the temperature is warming, but the pressure from the inside of the balloon has more room to expand because there is no atmosphere or water in the air. It just expands beyond its limits. It's not from the pressure on the outside. It's just the lack of pressure.
Well, let's get a little detailed here. Let's dig in a little deeper.
So then it's pressure, not temperature.
Well, I can demonstrate.
Because of the temperature that this is happening, there is no warming. Let me just finish one thought. There is no warming. The only way you can judge this warming is by the size of the balloon, not a temperature.
Crock of crap. How many times have we got to demolish this? Gas law, rearrange, density equals pressure. The hits per surface area, temp, speed, kinetic transfer to thermometer, pressure and temp are different things. Absolutely correct. Life is short. They're not the same thing.
Can I jump in? Can I jump in? Remember, we said this yesterday. Less pressure means that the boiling point, which is a transition point from a liquid to a gas, is reduced when the pressure is reduced. You understand what that means?
Did you explain those readings while you gave plus instead of a minus?
Say that again.
So on your data yesterday, you gave a reading of a plus value when in reality it gave us a minus reading. Why did that happen? Who did that?
You have to ask Dwayne Clellum that.
I'm asking, why did you present, Paul? Why did you present this without checking the data?
It's just data. It's just data, and it was showing that.
Yeah, but yesterday, Paul, I said this could be bunk. This is just data that hasn't been verified. You haven't even checked it, but you presented it and made it to be data as a matter of fact. But it's not.
Well, if I'm looking at the data on the screen now, there's a positive number. There's no negative number at the temperature at 113,000 feet.
Mm-hmm. But
what
the data
yesterday, 56,000 feet. What does it say there? What's the let him just answer that question. What's the temperature reading at 56,000 feet?
Still a positive number, about 28 degrees Fahrenheit.
That isn't what you showed yesterday.
29.
I might be wrong, but I don't think that's what you showed yesterday.
Well, he did tell me, Dwayne did tell me that it depends on the different conditions that he would get different readings. He did tell me that yesterday, and I did say that yesterday as well. But my point was the temperature was positive on the reading he gave me. It was positive. It was not negative. So how even here the temperature is positive, not negative.
How is this a toe tag then, Paul? Where's the toe tag?
Because I've been telling you the boiling point of oxygen, which is a gas in its normal state, is negative 29 or 200 or 300 degrees below zero at the sea level, which means there's 14 pounds per square inch at this level. The pressure is reduced up there, which means is that if the pressure is reduced, then the boiling point of the gas is also reduced. So you still have the gas issue. That was my ultimate point, and I actually went into that yesterday.
Nathan, can you present me? Is this from your show yesterday?
Hold on, Chemo. We got another one. I just got to say, we got another one with a mental block over here. Okay, Chemo. You got to understand that this guy, he can't even stay on 7.
Go on, Ranty.
Okay, so yesterday I just asked him. I said, "Can you tell me what the temperature reading was yesterday at 56,000 feet?" Here we have the chart for 56,000 feet. And here we have the temperatures, which say minus 70, minus 69.8, minus 70, minus 70.2. Why did you say a plus value just then when I asked you for this data?
Okay.
Care.
Okay.
What's your point?
Is this from yesterday? You screenshot from yesterday?
This is from yesterday. I said, yesterday you presented data and I asked you what the temperature was at 56,000 feet. And you said it was in the plus. And I said,
no,
no,
it's in the negative. Well, if I said it, well,
It's higher than the other temperature.
Can't hear what Paul's saying.
But it's minus 70, yes?
Hold on, Ranty. Say again, Paul.
Okay, if I said that was in the positive, I misspoke. I'm saying the temperature bottomed out, or the temperature's in the negative, which it says right there, negative 70 degrees at that height. So, but then it rises. If you keep looking at the data, I can pull it back up again as the temperature rises on this balloon launch. The temperature rises from this point on, from the 56,000 feet. When it gets up to 119,000 feet, it's in the positive.
And this is in degrees C, yeah? This isn't degrees Fahrenheit, yeah?
I think it's Fahrenheit, isn't it?
Yeah, it's Fahrenheit. He's an American, so he's probably using Fahrenheit. And I got a 2-year-old screaming in the background.
Let me get the...
Yeah. I think he has been using Fahrenheit in all of his videos.
Nice Celsius, so minus 670.
Randy.
56. Yeah. Yes? So
you,
you said that.
you understand that this balloon, when it's on the surface of the Earth, it is a certain circumference, right? And as this balloon rises, the only judge of what...
I don't want to hear for the 5th time that it's going to be how we gauge temperature. Shut up, David.
Well, I'm looking at this footage of the link that I got, and I am seeing in the temperature, I see it increase slightly just before it bursts. So...
Yeah, that's consistent with what we expect. Do you want to have a look at what a balloon looks like when you actually put it in helium? Liquid nitrogen, and you freeze it.
So
you want to see what happens to a balloon when you freeze it really quick?
I'm pretty sure this video was another balloon launch, right?
Are you watching this, Arwin? I'm just going to skip.
No. I'm not gonna let you red herring this point because you were very persistent that.
Yeah, well,
all the other data showed other things while I'm watching this other balloon video and it's showing.
It's not relevant.
Let's just give Ranty 30 seconds. Hold on, Ranty. Hold on. Just everyone let's give Ranty whatever he needs, 30, 50, whatever seconds, just to make his example. Then comment.
Yeah, because Arwin said that the balloon popped when the temperature rose. Perfect. Yeah, we expect to see that. But what I'm going to show you here is this a series of balloons are dropped into liquid nitrogen, and they're basically pushed into the liquid nitrogen. I'm just going to play it from, let's say, here. So look what happens to these liquid nitrogen as they pushed it into the liquid nitrogen. This is the result of the balloons that were fully inflated when he first pushed them in. Now he's going to take them out, right, of the liquid nitrogen and watch what happens to the balloon. So it's going from cold to warmer. So when we go through the stratosphere at the really lowest parts, it's really cold and it starts to warm up. So the particles or whatever it is that's causing this volume of the balloon is expanding as the temperature warms up. This is why the balloons pop, because not only is it getting warmer and the molecules are starting to run around and do stuff, the higher up you go, you've got less pressure on the outside, less resistance, so the balloon expands rapidly and pops. That's what happens. So I think that's a cool experiment showing you.
Hey, Randy, the only thing is that you got to remember here, you're talking about going against common sense, saying that it's warming up. You have a problem with this warming up because you've got to remember you have already traveled in the temperature has already pushed all the gases of the Earth back down on the Earth. Okay, so what zone you're in at this point is unknown. We know that most of these tests are only at a little over 100,000 feet, and these balloons no longer operate. The highest at world records at 173,000 feet, and it's the Japanese did it a few years ago. But the point being is until we actually know what gases are up there, if there is any, we don't really know the answer. We're stipulating. But the point being is that we can judge the temperature by the size of the balloon most of the way up.
We can't, you say. We can't judge the temperature by the size of the balloon. The complete inverse of what you argued about 10 minutes ago, you mean, David? Wow, you really are a double speaker.
Of what cold does to a balloon. He just showed you.
What
I think he
liquid
just
nitrogen
forgot
does
his
to a
other
balloon.
argument. That's
So
all.
what? So what? What conclusion do you draw
The
from that, David?
point being is if it may not be the temperature, it may be because of the lack of air around the balloon. It just expands and pops because there's nothing to hold it. You know what I'm getting at? Because there is
What, a pressure differential, you mean? Yeah, we already knew that. That is what causes it, a pressure differential. Greater pressure inside the balloon than outside the balloon. Doesn't mean there's no pressure outside the balloon. That's just a bullshit assertion.
That's exactly what it would mean.
Oh, that's just a bullshit assertion that you're just making up. That there is no air pressure around it whatsoever. Well, you're just wrong.
Okay, well,
Why,
David,
why would I be wrong?
Because
David,
you asserted at the beginning of your
David,
statement that the temperature makes all the gases fall back down to Earth, meaning you have a fundamental misunderstanding about what gas does. You don't understand what gas does, and based on your misapprehension that you stated at the beginning of your statement, you believe the gases are all falling down with temperature, flying in the face of what Paul's told you about 5 times. You just ignore him.
All right, David, don't keep going.
I know you don't like the truth. I understand that.
All right, it's okay. But check this out, Paul and Nathan and Arwin. We were told that if you climb, and Anton, I hope you're listening as well. We were told that if you go to the top of Everest, okay, it's very difficult to breathe in there. It's like a death zone. Well, imagine this situation. You have a guy.
How do you know? How do you know? Have you climbed it?
Right, just going to read out Life is Short. My head hurts. Both temperature and pressure can be manipulated to affect a balloon. Change one but keep the other. Oh, it's gone too quickly. I'll scroll back down and actually read out his full comment because I do want to read out Life is Short's comment. As everything he said so far, I've completely agreed with 1000%. So I'm going to go and find his comment and actually read it out. Okay, he says... My head hurts. Both temperature and pressure can be manipulated to affect a balloon. Change one, keep the other constant. Both similar effects on the density because of gas law. Absolutely correct. Thank you very much indeed. Life is short. A reason of the voice of reason in amongst this insanity.
Okay, am I coming through? You can hear me okay?
Yeah, we hear you okay. I'm sorry I talked over you, Spurs. I want to read out what Life is Short is saying because I completely agree with him.
That's fine. Mount Everest, they tell us you need to take oxygen to be up the top because, the oxygen is very low. Well, imagine this situation. You have a guy in shorts and he's able to run to the top of Mount Everest without oxygen and able to withstand whatever low pressures or low temperatures there
What month is he in?
How would you explain that?
What month? What month? What
No,
month is he in?
how would you explain somebody be able to run up to the top? They're running up to the top of Mount Everest, and they're able to breathe without any problems.
I've got an answer. It's because of a radioactive spider bite that causes that person to be capable of doing that. How about that?
What is?
There are people who work months and months to condition their body to handle it better. I don't see what this example.
What does that tell you? What does that tell you? That's a good answer. What does that tell you? That tells you if somebody is healthy, then the temperatures will not affect your breathing, right? If you're in good condition, I've been keep trying to tell people, if you're in good health, if you're in good condition, your ears.
Hypothermia strikes regardless of your health. You're going to have decreased mental function. You're eventually going to become hypoxic if you're at that thin an atmosphere. Unless you're well conditioned for it, even a healthy, normal person is not going to handle that.
Say again, please. That Emerald.
What?
Who was it that was just talking?
Sorry?
Before Spurs interrupted, who was talking about becoming hypoxic at high altitudes? Who was it that was just talking?
I was. I was finished with my point.
Can you repeat it?
Sounds like
it was spot on.
Yeah,
correct.
So, hypothermia is going to set in regardless of how healthy you are. And regardless of how, good a person you are, how well you can handle certain things like on Earth down in the lowest parts of the atmosphere, people just aren't conditioned to handle that thin an atmosphere at the top of Everest. Doesn't matter if you have a clean bill of health from your doctor. Most people, if they haven't conditioned for months, aren't going to be able to handle the conditions at Everest. You're going to get hypoxic because of the decreased pressure in the atmosphere, meaning you're going to have less oxygen, and you're going to have hypothermia set in if you're just wearing shorts.
I heard him. He cannot handle hypothermia. But I'm saying that's a myth. Again, another old wives' tale that they tell us in order to stop knowing us the full truth. Now, again, I said, imagine a guy in his shorts running up Mount Everest. So let's have a look at my.
Why would you do that?
You told us, imagine a guy in his shorts, and then you're asking us, why could he survive on the top of Everest?
He couldn't.
Except we don't know if he will. You're just saying that he will.
Stupid.
Yeah, I know, but you keep interrupting me. You won't let me finish. Okay, so if you stop interrupting,
but we heard the example the first time. We heard the full example and the question that followed it. We heard all of it.
Right. So now I said present my screen, and I can show you this guy. This guy is a superhuman guy. He's called Wim. And he's able to withstand low temperatures, low pressures, and all of these wonderful things. And not only that, he's able to teach this to other people. So now he has an army of people doing the things that he's doing. Now, this is a guy who ran. Let's see if I can find the screenshot there. This is a guy who ran up Mount Everest in his shorts and was able to withstand.
From what altitude did he start?
Holy shit! Hold on, hold on. Everyone, shut up.
What
I want to hear Spurs.
Why do you keep interrupting me?
Everyone, shut up. I want to hear Spurs. I can't believe he's
interrupting me. I know this is
fuck, dude. I didn't talk. Shut the hell up.
I know this is freaking you out.
Right, you're on.
I don't just say.
Okay, one more time and I'm sniping.
No, don't snipe him.
Fuck up.
Yeah, shut it, Arwin.
Continue.
No, right. Listen, I want to hear Spurs. This is the first time in about a month I've actually wanted to hear what he's got to say.
You're talking about a guy running up in his shorts.
Continue. Right. Yes, he is. That's precisely what he's doing amazingly, and I'm loving every second. Go ahead, Spurs.
All right, thank you, Nathan. So, as I said, imagine, you don't have to imagine, but imagine there is a guy who can run up Mount Everest in his shorts, and we've been told that it's not possible to breathe or survive at these temperatures, but yet we have a guy who is able to go against what the narrative is, and not only, like I said, he's able to teach others how to do the same thing. You see, he has a group. You can check this video out. It's called Becoming Superhuman with Iceman. And he made it to the top of Mount Everest in his shorts, ran the entire way. And the doctors, the scientists are just like baffled. How is this happening? How is this possible? What is going on here? So what I'm asking is, what I'd like to know is, when he's standing there at the top of Mount Everest, what is he breathing? Is he breathing air? What's the difference between a regular person? Sorry? I mean, I know he's had training. Of course, you need training for anything in life. If you want to fight Mike Tyson, you would need training. If you want to go swimming, you need to train. Again, remember that healthy body.
Spurs, just ask your question in full.
Yeah, the question is that if we're told that the atmosphere is very thin and it's very low pressure, how is he able to run, bear in mind, run to the top of Mount Everest and then breathe just fine with no problems?
And with that, I'll say if you want to find out the conclusion, you'll have to subscribe to the Nathan Oakley channel to catch the uncut and after show, because this is where we bid the live audience farewell. A huge, massive, enormous thank you to all of you who tuned in, smashed the super chat, liked, commented, shared, subscribed, and all that good stuff. Be sure to check out nathanoakley.com and the Flat Earth Debate community forum to keep up to date with that. I've been Nathan Oakley. Stay tuned if you're watching on the Nathan Oakley channel premiering stream, and I'll see you all in the next video.
Oh, what a day! What a lovely day!